Hey everyone, Hana Cassis with the Stock Market Academy. I know it's been a minute since I posted my last video, but that's not to say I stopped watching the charts. I've definitely been following the markets, and I just figured that I would give you guys an update on what's happening in the markets at least weekly, and if not more than that, when I get a chance to it throughout the week, or when I see something worth posting, I definitely will. But at the very least, I want to do my weekly update here. And I know you guys are probably sick of the bear market. We all are. I know for growth investors, there's been a lot of false breakouts. For value investors, you've been buying things cheap and they've just been getting cheaper. So it could be frustrating, but there are some positive signs in the market. So let's just see right here. This is a weekly chart of the S&P 500, and it's been holding since the March 2020 or 2020 low to the 2022 high in January. You could see we held right here at the 38.2% level, and the markets appears to be in a slight consolidation. So you could probably plot it from here. There's a lot of activity going on in this breakout. So I like to say that I'm a buyer right around this 3,900 level, which looks like, let's look at it on the daily. If you're looking at this on the daily, you can see here that there's definitely major resistance right around this level. There was a sharp reversal here. There was reversal here. There was a big gap down here. There was a sideways consolidation for 3 trading weeks almost here. And then we saw a sell-off again at the same level. So you can expect right around the 3,900 level that there is a significant amount of resistance. So let's take a look here. On the daily chart though, it's actually pretty positive. You can see here that we have a downtrend line that we're running up against resistance coming up right here, and slightly higher we have more resistance here, and this line here is also resistance. That was the February low. We also saw that consolidation here that sent us down to new lows. But what else we're seeing here is positive money flow. So look at the rise in stocks and look at the money flow that we've seen. So we're seeing some significant buying power, and we also are seeing higher volume. So this is quite promising. I want to go to one other chart here. It is down. I think it's this one here. So let me just show you this chart, why this is important, and why you should be optimistic. So here we had a sharp reversal, which we traded, but it was on negative money flow, so it was only temporary. Here we had a little pump fake. It was positive money flow here. And then all the reversals we had at 0.3, 0.4, and 0.5 were all negative money flow. Here at 0.6, we actually had positive money flow. So that's actually very bullish. And we've also had some what's called accumulation days. We had greater volume here, we had greater volume here, 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 and here. So we've had a series of what are called accumulation days where there's higher volume, but then we're also seeing strength in the money flow. So that's very optimistic for stocks. If you want to look at volatility, this is a chart of the VIX, and you can see that it's very bearish on the weekly chart, and it looks like on a daily chart it's in an absolute free fall. So what we're seeing is increased money flow into the S&P 500, and we're seeing a reduction in the volatility index, which is actually really, really good for stocks. So if that's really good for stocks, what stocks am I looking at? Here are the stocks I'm looking at. This is Funko Inc. They make popular toys. They have tons of license agreements. And I did some keyword research and actually found they have 4 million Google searches a month for their products. And if you haven't heard of it yet, you might hear of it this Christmas season. If the US consumer remains strong, they are a fad toy. People with kids know what they are. I never heard of them until they came up on my screener, but this is definitely on my watch list. And it looks like it's about to break out to new highs at roughly the 27 level. International money transfer, or Money Express, this is a check cashing business. So 73% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. I just saw a statistic that said 3/4 or 2/3 of all people making $100,000 or more live paycheck to paycheck. International Money Express stands to benefit from that as people need to accelerate their paychecks. It's a high growth stock, uh, earnings surprises, really solid EPS growth, and you're seeing a series of accumulation days right here. Lee Daily, Tesla's competitor, insane money flows here and here on the weekly, and it broke out, and it's actually right here is a major demand zone because remember, on this chart right here, this is prior resistance at these levels. That means there's a lot of buyers at this level, and as you can see, this demand zone has held on higher money flows. MGIC, it's one of the IBD leaders for low price stocks. They actually have insane uh, earnings growth right now. I really like what I see with this company, and they have insane money flows. And it's carving out a bottom. This is a rounded out bottom, which is forming a base, which means a potential early buy could be approximately $20 with an entry around 25. Solar. Now, if you notice, all these stocks stand to benefit from the current environment. This company is selling a bunch of solar units for residential homes, and they're seeing significant demand in Europe right now as Europe tries to wean itself off of Russian fossil fuels like natural gas and oil. So this company is poised as Europe really tries to become independent of needing fossil fuels from Russia. This company stands to benefit. It's reflected in their earnings. It's reflected in their price action. We're looking at a breakout of potentially around 215. That's where I would be a buyer. I do like this though. Look at that candlestick. That's a hammer candlestick. It hit Bollinger on higher money flows, but and this goes to show you how money flows can help you decipher. Now, if you saw this, you would think that was a distribution day because this was on higher volume. But money flow actually went up. Money flow is at its highest. So that means there's a lot of institutional money going into this name right now. And here's a weekly chart. You can see VCP, that means volatility contraction pattern, where every time it goes down by less. So I am a buyer here, and I will add on as we see a breakout above 287. This is a company that makes healthcare companies run more efficiently, which means they become more profitable. It's pretty good accumulation here on the weekly and on the monthly chart. And this is a classic cup and handle setup, which looks like it could potentially break out. So we have the cup and we have the handle, and the purchase would be right around 32.27, slightly above that as it breaks out above the form of the handle. I love this setup right here. I'm a buyer probably this week. Go. This is a discount retailer. It's kind of like the TJ Maxx of name brand groceries. You could get a can of Starkist tuna for as low as $1.29. They ship nationally. They've had a mixed bag of earnings. Not the best earnings, but significant demand and sales growth. And you could imagine it's kind of like treasure hunting, like TJ Maxx. You never know what you're going to get. Stuff might not be in the same shelf. They only have 400 stores. They plan to get to 4,000, and it's popular in the Northwest. If you haven't heard of Grocery Outlet, you might soon. It's very similar to Dollar Tree, but for groceries and less consistent inventory. But we are approaching a major supply zone here. Remember, resistance, that means there's a lot of people that are going to take profit people that bought at this level, they've been underwater this whole time. When they hit break even, they're going to say, I've had enough, I'm getting out. So I would wait for a pullback on this one. Neo Daily, not the best earnings, but significant revenue growth, major accumulation days. You could see here, major accumulation. And they have great money flow. If it holds at this level, which right here was the high from June, it's holding right there. I would like to, and it's also support from January. I would like to see this hold, and I would be a buyer right around 22. Here's you can see it's negative money flow, but it's actually increasing, so that's a good sign. This is Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers. Auctions tend to do well during recessions because a lot of people don't want to pay full price, especially with inflation. And also there are increased amount of bankruptcies in the economy, which means assets go to auction. So they will have the inventory and they will have the demand for that inventory. This stock got downgraded the other day. by one of the analysts that follow it, and the next day it rallied, recaptured more of its gains plus some on higher money flow. This is a very, very bullish stock right now. And as you can see, it might be too premature for a growth investor. I would be a buyer right around 10% above the high, 10 cents above the high. So you're looking at like 75.40. If you want to get an early entry in, last week's was a nice reversal. Just keep your stops tight. Those are the stocks I'm following. If you want to just see them right here, you could see, I follow a couple others here, but the main ones are Funko, International Money Transfer, Li Auto, Magic Technology, or Magic, I can't remember what the name of this company is, Magic Software Enterprises, Enphase. We have Evolent Health, Grocery Outlet, Neo Auto, and Ritchie Brothers Auctioneers. And these, if you miss this, if you can't write it down, these will be in the newsletter. Now, here's one more really good post, which I think I'm going to save for. You know what? I'll just go over it right now, and I'll point to it. So I want to share this chart with you from a couple weeks ago about energy and oil, and how oil had lost its momentum and now it's rallying. But now look at what's happening. So I'm gonna actually go through each one of these one by one and delete, delete, delete. No, I'll keep those. Delete, 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 delete. What the heck? Let's delete these. Okay. Look at what's happening here. Price hit support at Bollinger, and we have a candle reversal. So we have hammer reversal at Bollinger at 2022 support. So what this means is we have confluence at this level. So I know I was very bearish on energy the last few weeks, and it was a great trade on the short side. Don't be surprised if we see a rally in oil this week, because it looks like there should be a bounce. But if you want to go to the monthly chart, it's still quite bearish. And on the weekly chart, it's still quite bearish. So there might be a relief bounce. I'm still a seller in energy on any bounce. And another good example is XLE. On the monthly chart, it's very, very bearish. Very bearish. That's a bearish engulfing. And on the daily chart, we're seeing some. Let me just pull up the money flow. And here's your money flow. So you can see as price bounced here, it's still very negative money flow. So I would also be a seller in energy. If I see this go up, I'm going to look at the chart on the 1 hour and 4 hour for a reversal, and I will buy puts on energy and oil for a reversal. As for the week ahead, economic calendar, we're going to get some interesting housing data Monday and Tuesday. Building permits and housing starts were last month. I think some of the housing was negative. And so we're looking to see if it was negative again in June, which might confirm a new trend in housing, or it might show that it was just a blip on the radar. We could see existing home sales Wednesday, and then the big ones on Thursday are initial jobless claims, continuous jobless claims. And this will be an interesting one because the PMI will show how optimistic purchasing managers are across the economy. These are lagging indicators, but the market does pay attention to them. If you see any major reversals around 9:45 on Friday, or well, there's nothing really midday. These are all existing home sales, not a big driver of the market, but it's always good to look at the calendar just to make sure you're not overly exposed ahead of a really big economic announcement. Well, that's it for today. Just to sum it all up, S&P looks bullish. We might get a relief rally. We need good news to sustain that rally. The VIX looks very bearish, which means that is good for stocks. We look like we're going to see a little bounce in energy. I'm a seller on any reversal that I see because the monthly charts are very bearish, even though the daily charts are somewhat bullish. That means we might be seeing a relief rally. So I'll be looking for a reversal there. And if we do see stocks move higher, look for good news to sustain that rally. I'm a buyer of really strong earnings companies. Keep your stops tight. I'm not a fan of buying and holding and being underwater on the stock, so I keep my stops tight. But good earning stocks will go up when the broader market goes up. So you could drag your stops higher. I don't think investors, if you're looking for growth in the market, should be purchasing anything other than really strong earnings coming out of companies. That's it for this week. Any major updates, I'll be sure to share them with you. Thanks for watching.